Good morning. My name is Ray Cool. I'm CEO of PBSI Technology Solutions. This morning, we're going to, in very short order, review Dragon Medical latest edition, including the cloud version of Dragon Medical, with the goal to help those of you who use Dragon Medical and those of you who don't yet use Dragon Medical understand some of the key features that we find lots of clinicians fail to use. This is a fantastic product, and today we're going to talk about some of the features you may have been trained and you've forgotten about, or you may not know some of these features are there. So welcome, glad you've joined. So our agenda is very short. We're going to demonstrate Practice Edition 2. We're going to look at Dragon Medical 1, the cloud version. We'll talk briefly about some training options, and for those of you who have not implemented Dragon Medical, what the cost is. So our goal today is to inform and educate. Many of you today are already using Practice Edition 2, and there are no costs involved in anything you need to do. If you wish to engage PBSI for some training, fine, but the goal today is to provide some training. So for those who are not clear about the relationship, Dragon Medical is manufactured by Nuance. They're a public company. They own Dictaphone. They are the world's leader in speech recognition. Their products are embedded inside of products that you may know and use today from Apple or Google or other vendors, and they are by far the dominant leader in clinician dictation, both in the US with hundreds of thousands of physicians and other clinicians, and also worldwide. So PBSI's role, we are the authorized training center for Dragon Medical in Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana. And we've helped hundreds and hundreds of physicians to utilize Dragon. So whether you already own Dragon Medical or you need to purchase Dragon Medical, we can help. Our goal is on-site training, ongoing support, making sure that you make effective use out of this fantastic software. So I'm going to demonstrate. So on your screen, you see a couple of things I'm just going to mention quickly. On the right-hand side of my screen, I should say, this is the PowerMic 3, the newer version of the PowerMic 2. One of these two microphones, and functionally they're identical. The newer one is simply a little thinner and lighter, but the great majority, 90-some% of all physicians using Dragon Medical use a PowerMic. And the reason I'm going to use this while demonstrating is quite clear, that you can use a microphone and buttons in one hand while you're speaking and doing something else with the other hand. It's very, very efficient. So you can use all kinds of different microphones, Bluetooth or headset or any kind of microphone, but today I'm going to be using a PowerMic, and I'm going to be using a button on the microphone to turn Dragon on to start listening to me, and I'll push it again to turn it off, and then there are a couple of other buttons that I'll use. We don't use a lot of buttons because we don't want it to be confusing, but there's a next field and a previous field button and really not much else. On the left side of my screen, you see a picture of an iPhone. So you can use an iPhone or an Android as a microphone, so this requires a little bit of setup. And then there's also a new app available with the cloud version that allows the functionality of a PowerMic within use of an iPhone. So just want to make clear what I'm going to do is use this slide in PowerPoint as a reference point, some of the key features that I'm going to talk about. So in demonstrating these, I'm going to go into an EHR and demonstrate. And the first thing I'm going to do is speak some text and then talk about templates and how they're used. So if you haven't maximized your screen, you may want to do that because the text already appears small on my screen. The small text size has nothing to do with Dragon Medical. It's simply my screen, the software I'm using, and so hope you can read this. But now the cursor's positioned at a place in my EHR where I want to speak some text. So I'm going to do that now. By the way, before I turn my microphone on, you'll notice this very little red icon. That's a picture of a microphone turned on its side. That means Dragon is not listening to me. So when I push the button on my PowerMic, that button will turn green. The microphone will start listening. Here's how it works. Patient is a 26-year-old female presenting today for lower back pain, period. New paragraph. Patient's BP is 210/180, and I'm really concerned about medication dosage, period. We need to evaluate Lipitor interactions with other meds, period. new paragraph. Okay, so I just turned the microphone off. So far all you've seen is I spoke some text, and one thing you'll see immediately is that Dragon knows all kinds of things about clinical punctuation, and it knows which specialty that you're in. So if you're an orthopod, orthopedist, it already has a predilection for ankles and knees and things that, and all clinical terms that you know and you use on a daily basis. Dragon also knows it'll spell them correctly, it'll use them correctly, and it will fix errors. So taking text in and turning it into clinical dictation, that's the basics of Dragon. So I'm going to use a template now, and so I'm going to turn my microphone on and do that. Normal ROS. Select glands denied. Glands : unusual symptoms, period. We need to schedule an additional test. Select line. All caps. All cap that. All cap that. Go to bottom. New paragraph. Okay, so what I just did is I called up a template that simply had a name. So the name of my template was Normal ROS, but you can name a template, or a shortcut is another term for that, anything you want to. So when I called in my template, it pulled in this set of text, and then I used a select command to select part of the exam that I wanted to change, and then I changed it with my voice, and then I said select line in all caps, or all cap that. So these are some things that might be typical, because if you do change something in a standard group of text, how are you going to know that it's something unusual? So you could bold it, or capitalize it, or make it a color. So these are some basics with Dragon, and I'm going to go back and forth with PowerPoint so I can identify the key things, and we'll be finished by 9 o'clock. So this is going to be short. The select command is one thing that I just used, and I want to identify something really important. There are, for anybody using a current version of Dragon Medical, you rarely hear any complaints. The things that might be an issue with some speakers is they will say, you'll hear, it's hard to edit text, it's a pain in the neck. Well, it's not. And so here is the key thing that folks need to learn in order to edit text successfully and seamlessly. Use the select command, and two things. When you're trying to select text, select a phrase, not a word, and the timing of the select command is really important. So I'm going to go back and demonstrate, because this is one of the most important things in terms of basics that one could understand. So the select command involves the use of the word select, followed with just a short pause by whatever text you want to select. So if I tried to say select denied, here's what it would do. Select denied. Okay, so then I could say choose 5 or choose 1 or whatever, but obviously I don't want to do that. So instead of using a word, use a phrase. So if I wanted to select this, I'm going to say select blood denied. Blood : we need to schedule additional blood test. Go to bottom. Okay, so the select command works beautifully, but you can really screw it up with timing. So a lot of times we all get too quick, and so I say select, and I'm looking around on the screen, what is it that I wanted to select to fix? And by the time I decide, it's too late, and the select command is not going to work correctly. And I'll demonstrate improper use so you can see this. Select eyes denied. See, it gets confused because it doesn't really know what I'm trying to do. Dragon is always listening to me and deciding, is this a command like select or go to bottom, or is it text that somebody is speaking to me? So if I wait too long, it's going to think, well, that's just a set of text, because it waited a while and it said eyes denied. So decide what you're going to select. So if I know I want to select eyes denied, then I'll say select eyes denied. And then I won't change that, but you can see, and it's just like any other Windows program. Once the text is selected, whatever text you have selected, the next thing that happens, whether you type or whether you speak, it will replace that text. So the select command is really important, very simple to use, and hopefully that little tip will help. Okay, fields and field defaults. This is something that comes with use of templates. So I'm going to get rid of what's on my screen so far, and I'm going to use a template that has some fields and field defaults. Ankle sprain. Left. 3 hours per week. Family history sounds very unusual for this patient, period. Accept defaults. Okay, so I turn my microphone off now, and I'm going to describe what just happened. So my template had some brackets, and the brackets define fields. And whenever I touch a next button on my microphone, it goes to the next field, next field, next field, and I can either skip by that field or I can speak something there. So the idea here is whatever your typical template is, there may be some fill in the blanks, like what is the blood pressure or what is the range of motion that needs to be filled in on at that particular spot. Having a template that has fill in the blanks and then saying accept defaults to let all the blanks be filled in unchanged works quite well. So I'm going to do just one more. Normal lower back. The hospital today. Unusual symptoms in the L2 and the L3. Okay, so silly examples here possibly, but you get the idea. So now the first thing that occurs to me when I think about this is, okay, it's great, I can have template names, but how do I remember what they are? So there are a couple of key things here. I'm going to show you how to make a new template. I'm going to show you how to identify the templates you have, because this may be the single most important thing for somebody who's created some templates. First, I'm going to look at how do I find the templates that are out there, and there's a very simple command. It's what can I say? I'm going to use that now. What can I say? So what popped up on my screen is an alphabetic order list of all of the templates I've created. So I have normal eye, normal nerve block. All of these are templates, and they each contain a set of information that's called in when I call this template name. So it doesn't have to use the word my or normal or anything. It's just that combination of words will call in a template. So if I see, okay, that is the one I want. Today the patient was here and experienced our radiology template, period, new paragraph. Radiology template. Okay, so what's the difference? When I spoke this silly thing, experienced the radiology template, that's just text to Dragon. I was speaking and it knows that those words in context of what I was doing were just words. But when I paused before and I said radiology template, it called in all of this information. And by the way, a shortcut or a template can include graphic information, could actually include my John Hancock here in graphic mode. That just depends on whether the spot in your EHR will take a graphic at that point. So a couple of key things there. One is, what can I say? So then once you know that you can call up templates anytime, you'll find that as opposed to using a transcriptionist to make templates and shortcuts for you, you can make them yourself, and it's so easy to do. So this next thing I'm going to demonstrate is the feature of creating a new template, and the feature name is make that a shortcut. Normal exam. Okay, so I have this set of text, and let's say that I just spoke this text, and I want to have a couple of fill in the blanks in my template. So I'm going to say regular rate rhythm, and I'm going to put a template there. So I'm just putting a left bracket and a right bracket. And then I'm going to come down here and say, I could have spoken this. So I've just now done something that, let's say I had spoken this and I realized I'm going to speak the same set of text over and over the next days, weeks, and months. So I'm going to save this as a template name. So the way I do this is I select the text I want to save, and now I'm going to pick up my microphone and use this feature called Make That a Shortcut. I'll do that now. Make that a shortcut. Irregular exam. Click Save. Okay, so what did I just do? I just created a template, and you see on my list of templates now, irregular exam is listed among those templates that are available to me. So now that I've created that template, I'll show you how that works. Today, this patient had an irregular exam, period. New paragraph. Irregular exam. 210/80. Exam today revealed nothing unusual, period. Okay, so the fill in the blanks, you saw how that worked when I had brackets in my template. But creating the new template that I just reused, and again, when I used the words irregular exam up here, it knew them to just be text because there was no pause before. But then when I said irregular exam here, it called in my template. So make that a shortcut was the command I used, and then what can I say will display the things that you can say. So really important things. So a couple other things. Internet search. So you may have patients who ask questions during an exam and you think, please don't tell me about your internet research, or obviously there are appropriate and inappropriate things, but when I want to do research to a clinical website, there's a feature in Dragon, and you may be a Dragon Medical user and not know this exists. So if you have Dragon Medical Practice Edition, either 1 or 2, this feature's there. You can try it today. So the feature is called Search Website Name for Condition. So I'm going to do that now. And I might be in the middle of my EHR. I might be in Microsoft Outlook. It doesn't matter where I am when I use this command. I turn my microphone on and I do this. Search UpToDate for insomnia. So what did it just do? I used the search command and it said, okay, he's going to give me the name of a website. And I gave UpToDate and I said for, and it clicked inside of UpToDate for insomnia. I could further use the click command to click some things. So if I wanted to see treatment of cannabis withdrawal, I'd say click treatment of cannabis withdrawal. And it did just like I would, same thing it would have done if I'd clicked with my mouse. So you can use your voice to do things in Dragon Medical. And that internet search, what it does is it finds whatever browser you're using. So I use Chrome. It used Chrome for me. If you have Internet Explorer or whichever other browser set, it will use your browser of preference, and it will go find website and permits. It's just a very convenient way to do internet research. You'll go to WebMD or whatever other sites you want to query. Internet search. So hidden mode, another really key feature, and this is something that we find a relatively smaller percentage of clinicians use, but it's really, really important. I didn't realize until I encountered a trainer who said to me among our staff, hey, do you really like that hidden mode feature? And I said, what's that? And I'd been exposed to Dragon Medical for some time, and he said, oh my gosh, here's the way this works. So hidden mode basically permits you to touch a button on the microphone that opens up a box, and you can speak into that box. So instead of the normal use of Dragon where it produces text where my cursor is, instead, when you're using hidden mode, it produces text inside of this box. And the key is it can accumulate text while you do something else on your computer. So the idea is you want to look around in your chart and click on different tabs, and you don't want to have to keep coming back to home base to paste your text here. So here's how it works. I'm going to touch a button on my microphone to turn on hidden mode, and you see this translucent box. And the box can be different sizes and shapes and different translucent level. But now Dragon is going to accumulate text there. So I'm going to begin speaking. Patient is here today for an annual evaluation, period, new paragraph. I see that lab results over the past 3 years have gradually shown increased cholesterol, period, new paragraph. Coumadin seems appropriately managed, period. No important changes in social history, period. Transfer text. So you can see what it was doing is accumulating that text so that I can place it all at one time. So it's a really, really useful feature, and also will help if you have remote connection speed issues. It also works, eliminates all speed issues when you're using a remote Citrix or terminal services connection from either home or from another office. So that is hidden mode, or sometimes called dictation box. So I'm going to do something else here. I'm going to demonstrate something that in previous versions of Dragon were problematic, but current versions of Dragon, this is unbelievable how this works. I'm going to, what I'm going to call butcher dictation here, using speech patterns that might be very difficult to interpret. So here I go. Patient was here today for an extended exam, and the patient was really speaking improper English, period. Select was given, was really. Okay, so you see, it sometimes will be less than perfect, but it's unbelievably fantastic, and frequently I'm trying butcher text in this manner, and it gets it just completely exactly right. So it's very, very good at filtering out speech patterns that we all as humans make, including stumbles or repeated words, that kind of thing, where it would presume that to be a mistake instead of my intended dictation. Okay, so I'll mention that if you have an issue with using Dragon on multiple PCs or laptops and you have a separate voice profile on each, we can help you fix that. It's free. It's using a network voice profile. We make sure and set this up so that wherever you are, your voice profile, that's what it stores for you, that it knows your voice, your specialty, the words you've taught it, all those things go with you from device to device. So that's a short demonstration of Dragon Medical. I'm going to do a very short demonstration of Dragon Medical 1, because frankly the features are very, very similar. So this is the cloud version that you're going to see now, and I'm going to load Dragon Medical 1. I can't have both versions running at the same time. And this is simply an application where it's all hosted in the cloud. And now your voice profile is automatically carried with you, and when you're logging into a cloud version. And some of the benefits of this cloud version are it's a monthly subscription instead of a purchase price, so the upfront cost is lower. Cloud-hosted voice profile for larger practices, centralizing administration, voice profile setup more simply can be copied from one user to another, and updates are automatic. I see Dragon Medical 1, the cloud version, updated very frequently. So now I'm going to, instead of using my power mic, I'm going to use my iPhone as a microphone, and I'm loading an application on my power mic right now, on my iPhone called Power Mic Mobile. And I'm going to use it the same way. So I'm going to turn Dragon Medical 1 on, and Dragon Medical 1 shows as this. This is where it is on my screen. I can move it around. And it automatically operates in dictation box mode. So I'll show you how that works. Patient is here today for an extended exam period. Patient's BP was 260 over 120, and the patient is almost comatose, period. New paragraph. Normal exam. Select regular rate and rhythm. Irregular heartbeat. Transfer text. So you can see the features are very similar in the cloud version and in the purchased version. And frankly, it's simply a matter of looking at the economics for each practice and the size and whether there are central administration issues in choosing which version makes sense for you. So that's something we can help with. So we're almost finished. What do we really find the major issues are with Dragon? We find that training and underutilization is the main issue. So having expertise, either scheduling a one-on-one or a web training session where we're connected to you and your PC, where you're speaking and you have a trainer working with you, or whether we have a support arrangement where you're able to call or email support at PBSI anytime. The experience we have with lots and lots of clinicians and all kinds of different EHRs helping practices who have Epic and eClinicalWorks and Athena and whatever EHR, there are a lot of individual things we can help with workflow because we have so much experience using Dragon with different EHRs. So training is really key. And so for those of you who you're uncertain about the cost, you're thinking, do I want to purchase Dragon or do I want to license? Basically, you will spend, including training, about $2,500 for Dragon Medical, a power mic, some training setup. That's a rough estimate. That will be lower for practices with more providers. If you use Dragon Medical One, your upfront cost is limited to training and setup, and you have a monthly fee that's either $79 a month or $133 a month, depending on if you're an existing Dragon Medical user. Your initial cost for the first year at least is $79 per month. So monthly cost of Dragon is far lower than any alternative. If you're paying any transcription cost at all, you're going to save a ton of money with Dragon, but main thing is it's going to improve productivity. So we're finished with content, and I want to thank you for attending. I will open up to questions shortly, but I want to release everybody who is in attendance. And thank you for your attendance. So just want you to know that if you would like follow-up information, there are all kinds of ways that we can help with Dragon Medical or other clinical technology-related items, so feel free to contact us. So thank you for your attention today, and hope you enjoy Dragon Medical, and I hope this has helped